Hey everybody, welcome back to Milwaukee Beer Review. As always, I'm Josh.
And I'm Ross.
And today we are continuing our Legacy BCS series. If you haven't seen our recent video, we did what we called the wine series, which was their Legacy barley wine, their wheat wine, and the Caramello, which came out in 2020. Today we are continuing that series with a group of Legacy beers from their 2019 release. So kind of fun stuff. If you want to hear a little bit more about Goose Island, we talked about the brewery and kind of their history in our last video, so check it out. Link will be in the description. So we're just going to dive right into these. We're coming fresh off of our Black Friday pickups at this point. We spent a lot of time, a lot more content coming from all the stuff we picked up at Black Friday, but this is the inspiration for a lot of what we do on Black Friday. So let's dive in here. What's the first one we're drinking?
So the first one we're doing is the 2019 base beer. This is kind of the classic BCS beer that you tend to see all over the place when you are able to find it. This one has notes of chocolate, vanilla, oat with some smokiness, and then bourbon, of course. It comes in an ABV of 14.7%.
Very big beer.
Yes, absolutely. So,
as always. So let's get a little nose on the base BCS from 2019. This is 2 years old at this point. Oh.
And you get that bourbon, you get the vanilla, and there's a little bit of chocolate in there.
Yeah, the bourbon seems more prominent. We recently drank a 2020 on our Black Friday preview video.
Yep.
I feel like the bourbon was a little bit more subdued on the 2020 on the nose. I think a couple years, you get a couple years into these and that bourbon note kind of comes through the nose even more pronounced than what it is normally, or fresh.
Definitely more vanilla forward than the chocolate. The chocolate's a little subtle. It's there, but it's really vanilla forward with the bourbon.
Very vanilla. Not a lot of chocolate on the nose for me. There's a little bit of that smoky, oaky character to the nose, but it's bourbon and vanilla for the most part. Yeah. All right, man. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
BCS.
Nice sweetness with the vanilla. That bourbon's kind of a little sharp, which is actually, it's really good. It adds a nice kind of sharpness to it. I don't remember so much from the 2020 that we just drank.
Yep.
So
the bourbon is definitely a bigger star, I think, in the 2019, a couple years in, for sure. You definitely get vanilla.
Yeah.
I'm not getting a lot of chocolate on this.
I'm not getting much at all. I was about to say that.
Definitely those traditional roasty, oaky characters to this out the back end. You get a little bit of a bourbon bite on it, but it's still really, really smooth. So really well put together still.
Still just such a good wintertime fall sipper beer. It's got those classic tastes. It's got the classic vanilla all the way through, nice sweetness. It's just so well done.
It's the original. I mean, this is a great base to come back to consistently. They do such a good job with it, and it's getting so much easier to find this now, at least the base beer, that it's great to have a few, just sitting in the cellar ready to go, because you don't have to feel like you've got to kind of hoard them.
Exactly.
You can drink them at leisure. So really fantastic base. If I'm putting the 2019 BCS in Untappd in 2021, I'm probably putting it at 4 1/4. I think it's really good. It's a darn good beer. 14.7. It's hidden pretty well in here with a little bit of a bite, but I think 4 1/4 is a really fair score for this one a couple years later.
I'm right there with you. I think 4 1/4 is a good one. Maybe probably somewhere between 4 1/4, 4 1/2. I'll stick 4 1/4. It's really good. I just love the classic taste to everything. As much as I like variants and other things thrown in there, sometimes just that classic barrel-aged stout is just so well done, and they hit the mark every time.
Agreed, 100%. All right, so we're going to dive into a couple of variants from 2019 now. So if you remember back to your BCS Beer Hall days in 2019, we're going to try the Cafe De Olla. So this one's a bit unique. It's based on a Mexican beverage that actually carries the same name. So what they did with this one is they took their base Bourbon County Stout. They added coffee beans and cold brew coffee, actually, to when they fermented this. They also added cassia bark and orange peel and then panela sugar. So I think the objective here is a bit of a coffee forward, orange, kind of cinnamony, Mexican style Bourbon County Stout.
Yeah.
So that's really what they were going for this. This one comes in a little bit under the base at 13.5%. So not sure quite why or what the difference is from a fermentation perspective there. A lot more stuff happening in this one than the base. But let's get a little nose on it and see what's still there 2 years later. Cafe De Olla. The orange is for sure there.
I'm getting a lot of the bitterness from the coffee.
Coffee, yes.
Lots of coffee. I get a little orange, yeah.
I'm glad the coffee's still there. This one does say, and I think an important call out, this one they do recommend only aging for 2 years. I'm guessing it's the coffee that tends to dissipate over time. At least on the nose, though, it's there. Bam, it's there. The coffee's right there.
Yeah, to Josh's point, if you look at most BCSs, they will say age up to 5 years. So this one isn't that distinct, or it says say 2 years. So,
but yeah, coffee, maybe a little bit of bourbon,
a little cinnamon,
but there's a bit of a citrus note, a little bit of citrus character. I don't know that I'd pick it up as much if I didn't know it was there, but it's there a little bit on the nose. All right, let's try the Cafe De Olla. Cheers. Ooh, there's a lot happening in there.
I definitely get a lot of the cinnamon, and not in a bad way. I know we've talked on the show a few times how cinnamon can kind of, for me, ruin some beers. This is nice and subtle. It's all the way there. It's prominent. You get the bitterness with the coffee. I'm not getting the orange. I don't know if you are, but I'm not getting any of that.
Not on the palate, no. Definitely up front, you get the bourbon is buried. Like, I'm not getting bourbon on the palate at all. I get a pretty strong coffee bitterness note right on the front end, and it kind of lingers all the way through the back, like I'm still tasting it now. To your point, there is a cinnamon character to it, but it is subtle. It's not in your face. This is really good. I mean, if you just told me this was a coffee stout, I would probably believe you. And if you told me it wasn't bourbon barrel aged, I would believe you.
Yeah, good point. Like, I'm not getting a lot of bourbon on this at all, actually. I think those cinnamon coffee notes really kind of cancel that out. There's no burn or anything you get with some of the bourbon barrel beers.
Woo! First video of the night, so we're in good shape. So, yeah, to be honest with you, like, I think this is good. I don't think it steps up to where the base is.
No.
If I had to pick one of these to drink, I would definitely choose the base over this. I do like the coffee flavor to it, and it stuck around pretty well over 2 years.
It did,
so cheers to you, Goose Island, on making that go. But I think I'm probably putting this one in Untappd at a 4. I think it's a really good beer. I would drink it. I consider it a 3.75, but I do still think it's a well enough made beer, and a couple years later, that coffee's sticking around, that I think it's earned that.
I'm going to actually knock this down pretty good. I'm going to put about 3.5.
Really? Okay.
I still enjoy it. I still like it. I mean, I guess I kind of have to compare it within the BCS world.
Sure.
And if I'm looking at this compared to other BCSs, it's pretty low on my list. I mean, it's good. It's tasty. You just say it's low on my list. It's 3.5. Still speaks volume to how good it is.
That's fair.
It's just missing some marks. I want that bourbon. I want that bourbon in there. I want that kind of sharpness. Like, if I'm going to drink a BCS, I expect that. I'm not really getting that here. So
fair enough. Yeah, I think that's fine. A decent iteration, but not their best. I think we can both agree. So what are we drinking last?
So last is the 2019 Mon Cheri. This means my love in French.
Does it? Can you say that in French? Mon Cheri. Mon Cheri.
In French or French accent?
Say it in a French accent for me.
Mon Cheri. There.
Yeah, thank you.
Got that.
Well done.
So it's the base BCS with Balaton and what is
Balaton and Montmorency cherries.
This guy with oats, brown sugar, like a cherry cobbler. So this one comes in slightly under the base at 14.1%. So still a big beer. Just not as big as the base. So
I think this one was a favorite of my wife. So let's give this thing. Let's get a little nose. On the Mon Cheri. I'm imagining myself being the dude in Beauty and the Beast, like the
Gaston.
No, the candle holder guy. Be our guest, be our guest.
The candle.
The candle guy. Yeah, Thank you. All right, little nose on the Mon Cheri.
Derailed.
Off topic. Ooh, the cherries are definitely there.
Yeah, cherries are there. The bourbon's still there.
Yeah, bourbon, cherries, chocolate. I get a decent amount of chocolate on the nose on this too, which actually makes me pretty excited. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what you're expecting. So
exactly what it says. You're going to smell that. So
yeah,
I mean,
let's dive in.
All right, cheers, buddy.
Cheers. Oh yeah,
so you got the nice bourbon bite. The cherries are there, and it's nice and subtle. It's all the way through, which is it's really well done where they're able to do that.
This is by far better than the Cafe De Olla.
Yes.
This hits on the notes for sure. I don't know if I would go with cherry cobbler out of this. I'm not getting a lot of like the brown sugar.
I'm getting more like chocolate covered cherries.
Chocolate covered cherries,
yeah.
Exactly. That's kind of what I'm getting more so. I think that's awesome though. I mean, the cherries are still here. They're prominent. It's very clear that there's cherries in this beer, which is fantastic. Not a heavy bourbon note to it too. So I know one of the comments that I've heard from the Peanut Gallery on this is that one of the reasons they liked this beer, it was actually a bit of a transition beer into bourbon barrel aged stuff for them because it was so easy to drink. You don't have that like bourbon kick to it. That's a bit of a turnoff for people that might be new to that. This is a really solid beer though.
It's a nice kind of like mixture of like it's not necessarily a dessert beer, but it falls in that realm a bit.
It does.
Because as you're saying, the bourbon, I do get the bourbon there, but it's not that sharpness.
No.
You taste it, but it's not that sharp.
The cherries are the star of the show.
Oh, exactly.
For sure. So what would you do Untappd on this thing a couple years later?
If I'm putting this in Untappd, I'm going 4.5. Of what we've had today, it's the best we've had today. I really enjoy this one. That cherry's just kind of a nice little like surprise with this one. Yeah. It's really well done.
I would give this that little kick over the base too. I think this is a situation where the variant actually outshines the base a little bit. Depending on what I'm in the mood for, I may go for either one, but this one definitely hits the marks and is a very tasty beer. So I'm going 4.5 as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Good stuff.
Well, good stuff. So this was round 2 of our BCS series. We have a third video coming in the near future as we get through some of these things, as we're clearing the cellar out to make room for all the crap we bought on Black Friday. And I say crap in the best way possible. So thanks for checking this out. If you've tried these or have thoughts on them or have them in your cellar, crack one open and drink them along with us. Rewind and watch it again. We need those views. Check us out on the rest of our social media channels. We are on Facebook, on Untappd. We are on Twitter. We are on Instagram. Also here on YouTube. Obviously, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Would love to see you stick around and check out the rest of the content that we are putting out on a weekly basis at this point. So thanks for checking us out, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.